Welcome to the DATRE Transcripts. Transcript 006. John. Anna asked this question for DATRE. What is this internal sound? In our 3D reality, light is a self-sustained movement of electromagnetic fields. Sound needs a medium on which to start vibrations. And these vibrations are transmitted again through a medium to our ears. Most channels, though, speak both of light and sound in their inner world. What is that? DATRE. Well, number one, you are a hologram. A hologram is made up of intersecting energy lines, shall we say. I'm going to describe this very simplistically for understanding. I'm not going to get into a lot of technical terms. Let's keep it simple. All right, most everyone has seen a hologram. In other words, it's all the lights that intersect. Now, you can imagine, in your brain imagining, how many intersecting lines it takes to make your physical hologram. John, a bunch. DATRE. It is up to you if you could see that. You do not have the instruments with which you can perceive that at the present time. You can only see what your instruments perceive. Those that are able to see a hologram would only be able to see it to a certain degree, because some of the elements within your physical body have such minute connections with such high frequency that your physical eyes would not be able to perceive it. But it is, shall we say, a work of art. Believe me in that statement. All right, now the intersection of that which you call your hologram, that is your physical being, as it intersects, is like two flashlight beams crossing each other. You cannot see the beams until they intersect, holding the flashlight at a certain angle. The only time you see those beams from two flashlights is when they intersect. All right, now, you have that which you call your psyche. That is that life spark. That is that which is you. That life spark has the greatest magnitude of, shall we say, a crossing of the light beams, where it can be, shall we say, be seen. That is the most intense focus point. Now, when you, in what you call meditation, begin to slow the physical body rate of, let's see, the flashlight beams, you see, if you could see a hologram that you are, you'd be twinkling. Okay, when you go into meditation, that twinkling rate, that's what you do. You slow that twinkling down. Now, you are working from a different vantage point in that which you call the meditation. That portion of you is able to perceive the twinkling, but it appears as swirls. That is usually what people see when they first go into meditation. I say usually. All individuals are different and unique in their own way. But many, when they go into meditation, will see the swirling lights in colors. What you are seeing to begin with is your own vibration. John, some people see them as hunks of, like, liquid crystal too. DATRE, whatever. But what you are seeing your physical body in action. So that is what that is all about. What have I missed in the questioning? John, the sound part. DATRE, the sound also. John, the internal sound, like the ringing in the ears and that kind of thing. DATRE, that is also part of that you are constantly receiving from quote-unquote the outside. Now, this is a shocker to many. The universe is silent. No sound. We, as universal entities, do not have your physical abilities to see, smell, or taste, whatever. Okay? Now, as entities existing in the universe, we can only describe what we do and act and react, shall we say, in a point of, lost the word what I am looking for. Perception. We often say what we perceive. When we work through the channel, Aona, some of us have become familiar enough with her holographic structure that we can see through her eyes because there is no barrier. She vacates, in other words. It is no difference if you say, I need to go to town, can I use your car? And I say to you, sure, here are the keys. Give me the keys when you come back. That is Aona channeling. She gives us the keys. We use the body when we are in the body. When we vacate, we give her the keys back. To her, that is no big deal, but it took a long time to get to that point where we could exchange keys because of the vibrational difference between the physical being and that which we bring through her physical body. Okay, now I said the universe was silent. The universe is vibration. Everything within the universe has a vibration of different magnitudes. Now your physical ears and your physical eyes are the two ways that you perceive and organize vibration. Understood? John, yes. DATRE, all right. Now in meditation, when you, shall we say, change the vibratory patterning of all the intersecting lines of your hologram, you, to an extent, see the intersecting lines at the point of intersection as light. Now, the same is true with the sound. The sound, what you see or what you hear, many times in the very beginning of meditation, the sound that you will hear is the sound of your own physical being. There is a resonance, the frequency of the biology. It is a resonant patterning that you hear. Now, this is what I'm saying at the beginning of a meditation, all individuals being different. Now, in your meditative state, you are allowing your psyche a greater range of expression than you do if you are manipulating the physical body experiences. The psyche goes every which direction, is capable of everything that is in the universe. Everything that's there, the psyche knows and is familiar with. Now, the thing, again, that we have said previously is your physical being that you are manipulating through has a patterning, and what you pick up in your states of meditation and also in your states of sleep that you cannot describe, that which you pick up in those states are the psyche taking you different places to experience to set up your experiential patterning that you wish to have. Is that understood? John, yes. DATRE, all right. Now, when your psyche is able to take you to different places, this is where you will, like we do, perceive sound and light because that is your physical body construct. It is translating it. Now, in the dream state, I wish to put this in just a little extra, but I think it's important. In the dream state, many will say, I don't dream. You are chuckling. John, wrong. DATRE, you know someone who does not and has struggled because everybody is supposed to be able to bring back their dreams and translate them. I don't know a dream that Aona has been able to do that with. She puts her head down, she drops, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. She says that mentally she is gone, and I mean gone. She has slept through fires in the house that she was living in and didn't know there was a fire until the next morning. She came out and said, what happened? With fire trucks, with ambulances, all the noise and commotion, she was not there. That is what is happening to those many individuals on this planet today. So I am saying, do not become frustrated if you cannot come back from the dream state with anything that you are able to translate. You'll come back with geometric patterning. Geometric patterns are of the universe. John, aren't geometric patterning actually the language of this reality? DATRE, of this reality, yes. Because I do not wish to get into this any deeper because but it is of this reality. Now, I'm going to say this and I'm going to drop it because no one is ready for it, simply not because you will not be able to understand it, but because we have not set up the framework for you, and there is no sense in giving you something like that. I will say one thing. There are, on this planet, individuals whose sole purpose is to translate the geometrics that come into the reality that you are in and translate them. And that is the information that you receive in the dream state that your psyche works with in this reality. John, in other words, they are taking that energy and format it so that we can relate to it. DATRE, that is correct. Enough of that subject. We will go no further, and unfortunately we will answer no questions at this time regarding that, because that is something that we will discuss in the future. But let's build a framework upon which your understanding can be based. John, let me explore the other aspects of her question. In that she says, as our science understands, sound needs a medium in order to propagate, to move. In other words, we can't hear sound unless it has a medium to move through. That's one of her questions, and also relative to light. Does light need the same medium to translate through? DATRE, yes. John, but that medium is simply the frequency of the total environment that acts as a carrier wave. DATRE, well, actually, what your interceptor is the physical being. The physical being is what is. If you did not have the ears and the eyes, just take two things. If you did not have the ears and you did not have the eyes with which to pick up these frequencies, then you would have to work from a totally different platform. Then your whole body would take over the function of your eyes and your ears. You have to remember that your whole body is a receptor site. It is a receptor site. If you do not have eyes and you do not have ears, your receptor site becomes your whole holographic pattern. And at that point, you learn to function with your whole holographic/physical being in an entirely different manner, until you are taught by other physical beings on the planet how to work without those concepts. As an aside, that which you knew as Helen Keller. Helen Keller could not see. Helen Keller could not hear. And yet, when someone entered the room, she picked up the vibration and could tell exactly the color the individual was wearing on the physical body. She could also hear in her own way to be able to communicate. She was what we call an archetype. She came in with what you would call those disabilities and turned them into abilities to show you. John, how unlimited we really are. DATRE, that is correct. Now, is there any more? John, that's fine. I guess there's a complexity in here that she's trying to get across, in that I think she's trying to understand what these mediums are referring to when they talk about sound and light in the, quote, inner world. That to me sounds like dead zone, which is another whole ballgame. DATRE, well, you see, the dead zone, that place which the people go when they decide to leave this physicality, and like from our perception, you go from one physicality to another physicality, and one is called living, and one is called dying or dead. So you call that the dead zone. It is another, just another vibration within this which you call your reality. John, just another version of this. DATRE, it is another version of this. That's why everyone says, I'm afraid to die. I'm afraid to die. Well, my goodness, how many thousands of times do you have to do it in order to not be afraid of it? It is just like walking through a door. You open the door and you walk through, and there, it's a little different. But you have done it so many times. To us, the reason you do that, you have kept yourself so limited in scope that the minute you go into that which you call dead zone, it takes a very short time for you to adjust because it's something that's familiar to you. But when you come back in, you are not specific enough in your choice of doing in this particular lifetime. So you say, I want blonde hair, I want long legs, I want a thin body, because that is in fashion right now. At one time, the heavier you were, that was in fashion. But anyway, what you do is you figure out all the physical things you want to come back in, but those who go out with great awareness into the dead zone will say, it took me a lifetime to learn this, and I'm going to take every single bit of it back with me when I go back into physicality again. Now, that's simplistic, and there are going to be a lot of things about reincarnation and all that stuff, but we're glazing over that. We don't want to get into semantics, but that is what happens. You give up too much of yourself so you don't have that much to come back in with. But because of the vibrational changes that are taking place upon your planet, those that have been coming in, shall we say, the last short period of time, I do not know numbers, years, and so forth, those are coming back in with more because they can't get in here as easily. So in order to be able to withstand the vibration that is taking place on the planet, they are coming in with more of their previous physical/existence/knowing. Let's put it that way. John, what about sound in that reality? Does it use a medium of transmission? Is there really sound there? Or is that something that is imposed upon that reality by the perceiver? DATRE, there again, I will say that within this reality, the geometrics are transposed into sound, light, and all of those things. So you see, what you are able to function with has been translated for your working with. In other words, if you are going to make a cement block, they give you water, they give you cement. What else do they give you? John, sand. DATRE, all right, sand. That's enough. We don't go any further. All right, you have water, you have cement, and you have sand. That is what are the building blocks. Those building blocks are what are given to you. How you mix the water, the cement, and the sand is up to you. But that cement has to be made, water has to be made, and the sand has to be made, all right? So if those three things have to be made, those are made for you and handed to you and said, here's cement, here's sand, here's water. Now you mix it the way you want it. John, the same with sound and light. DATRE, same thing. John, in larger terms, just to throw out for this reality in larger terms, sound and light don't exist until it's made into a thing that exists for us. DATRE, that's correct. Same way with experiences. All the experiences that you need for this reality, including the dead zone, is, shall we say, formatted for you. That is, you see, it is hard to explain that there are jobs outside and inside a reality. All right, now that's very simplistic, and I know that probably we've tried to stay away from confusion, but the sound that you hear within this reality is within this reality. John, can I make a comment on that? The reason for that is that those outside of this reality could never translate something for this reality because that's not their environment. You have to be in a reality in order to translate for a reality. DATRE, that is correct. There is no other way. In other words, you see, we perceive, but we couldn't. There's no way that we can come in here and take care of that within your reality. That has to be done by those within the reality. John, that's the job they came here to do. DATRE, that is correct. That is correct. John, 99.99% probably never had a clue that they are doing that. DATRE, there are a few that do. There are a few. But the thing is that the portion of them that they carry is a portion of them that has come in at the beginning of this physical reality existence that you have now. They did not lose that. They carried that in right at the beginning. Now, that made a genetic patterning within a physical being. That was set up at the time they originally came into physicality. They set that themselves. That was their job. All right. Now, because that was put into the gene pool that has been maintained and not shoved back and layered, they have kept that open. They have not layered that within the genealogy pool. They have kept that open so the knowledge of the transferring of energy in this reality has remained within the genealogy of those individuals. And because of their, shall we say, put this in quotes, knowingness, because of their knowingness, they are still connected to the ones that originally did the changing. So you see that contact has never been lost. Where, in your patterning of the average individual upon the planet has been layered over, and like I said before, coming from the dead zone, and, well, I want a new experience. So instead of keeping what they had and adding to the new experience, they dumped it. Now, many will say, well then, what is the use of channeling from the dead zone? There is always a use for everything. Grand inventions, grand things come from the dead zone because that is another form of physicality. And if they continue in the dead zone to work upon that which they have worked upon in physical reality, in other words, if they continue in that same vein, what they're working with is easier to manipulate than it was in the physical plane. The answers come easier. You connecting with the dead zone, your answers come to you easier. So you see, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. The only difference is that your dead zone is still within your reality. Now, because I, as an individual, shall we say, an individual entity that is in the universe but still has, at one time, had physical existence. Now, when I say physical existence, that does not necessarily mean earth plane existence. We have many different kinds of physical existence. All right, but it is easier for me to explain those things than for someone else to interpret and be able to perceive, because I know what I'm looking for in the dictionary package. The reason that we are coming forward at this particular time, and I use the word time, and you can quote that quote unquote, is because in the next few of your years, there are going to be dramatic changes within the physical being and within the planet. So we came at this time because we can perceive you. You have little boxes that you put little animals like ants stuffs. You have little ants or something you put in boxes. You watch them inside the glass. John, ant farms. DATRE. All right, now you see the vantage point we work from? All we are trying to explain to you is what you are experiencing so that you can be comfortable in your physical body experience. Because if you have an idea of what is going on and what is happening, what's happening, and running around and no answers, it becomes very confusing. The minute you find an answer to how things work, it immediately reacts upon the physical being and relaxes the hologram. It relieves the tensions within the body. It relaxes the vibration of the hologram. It slows it down. You have heard from those that say, walk in meditation, or something like that. They talk about something similar to walking in meditation. Well, there again, the words become very confusing, but what happens is if you can look at things from a vantage point of understanding, it becomes very much easier. Because you see a tragedy, as you would refer to it, on the television, and you become emotionally involved in something that has no connection with you and your existence at all. When you can know what is happening, there are no accidents. You are trying to get to the point that you can create your own reality. Then the more knowledge that you have, the easier it is going to be for you to understand what you are trying to create. and learn in this experience. Now we put a lot of information in. We hope that this has been satisfactory to you, understandable to you, and we will answer more questions as they come regarding these subjects. We will leave you for now. We will say good afternoon. We are DATRE.